Dear students, welcome to physics class. I am Dr. J.C. Babu, Assistant Professor of Physics from Vivekananda Government Degree College, Vidyanagar. Today, we will discuss about radioactivity. For this, I am going to share PowerPoint presentation. So, the today's topics are first, introduction to radioactivity and laws of radioactivity decay, half-life of radioactive substances, mean lifetime of radioactive substances, activity of substances, and finally we will discuss of the alpha decay. As you know, radioactivity is related to the nucleus of the atom. From the nucleus of the atom, the spontaneous decay is occurring. The spontaneous decay of alpha particles or beta particles or gamma particles is called radioactivity decay. Radioactivity. This is the radioactivity is the process of spontaneous decay, and this is due to the transformation of unstable atomic nuclei accompanied with the emission of nuclear particles and radiation. The phenomena of spontaneous emission of radiation by heavier elements found in nature is called a natural radioactivity. So, this natural radioactivity or radioactivity belongs to the nucleus, unstable nucleus. The unstable nucleus wants to be stable by emitting certain substances like natural substances like alpha, beta, and gamma particles known as the radioactivity. If it is occurs spontaneously in the nature is called the natural radioactivity, or by artificial transmutation of elements. If the radiation, spontaneous emission of radiation occurs, that is known as the artificial radioactivity. Spontaneous emission of radiation from lighter elements by artificial transmutation of elements is known as the artificial radioactivity. In the emission process, the unstable nucleus decay into more stable configuration by emitting certain particles or by emitting electromagnetic energy. Then, rate at which radioactive disintegration occurs is expressed in terms of half-life period. The half-life period is different for different elements. It is ranging from seconds to the years. Some radioactive elements half-life is more than the 10 power 9 years. This disintegration is also known as the decay process. The decaying element is called the parent element, and the new element is called the after decay. The new element is occurred, that is called the daughter element. So that in the radioactive process, by emission of the certain particles or radiation, the element will decay. The number of particles in that element will decreases and it will form to the new element is called the daughter element. So that radioactive decay is the nuclear process, and in this decay process radioactive rays are emitted from the nucleus of the atom. If you go to the some more details about the radioactivity, first in 1986, Henry Becquerel found that uranium salt is emitting radiation, and this radiation has strong penetrating power. He realized that the source of this radiation is uranium. The radioactive behavior of uranium is independent of the environment and electronic structure of the atom. The radioactive properties are due to uranium nucleus. Later, Pierre Curie and Marie Curie studied extensively and found that radium and polonium elements also emit radiation. And their studies, they found that polonium is around 10 billion times more active than uranium, and radium is 20 million times more active that of uranium. So in 1897, Rutherford and his group found that radioactive substance emits radiation of different nature and different penetrating power. They named less penetrating rays are alpha rays and more penetrating rays are beta rays. In 1900, Paul Willard found another radiation emitted by a radioactive nuclei which is even more penetrating than alpha and beta rays. These rays are called the gamma rays. So that the radioactive particles are in two types: alpha rays, which have less penetrating power and more ionization power, and beta rays, more penetrating power and less ionization. And another type of radiation is called the gamma rays. So this radioactivity is due to the unstable of the nucleus. This will I explain with this slide. If the nucleus is stable, there is no need of emission of radiation or particles. So the stable nucleus doesn't show the radioactivity. Stable nucleus shows the non-radioactive. The unstable nucleus only emits certain type of radiation is called the radioactive substances. And also we observe that based on the neutron to proton ratio, neutron to proton ratio is 1, then that atoms are stable. If neutron to proton ratio is not 1, then neutrons are more, then they are said to be non-stable. So that N by P ratio, depending on the N by P ratio, we can estimate the which elements are nucleus are stable and which are unstable. And the simplest way of predicting the nuclear stability is based on the whether nucleons are odd or even number. If the nucleons like protons and neutrons are odd, they are least stable. Such type of protons and neutrons, odd nucleus are in number 4. Only 4 nuclides or 4 atoms having the odd number of protons and odd number of neutrons, so that the stability is least for these nuclides. And odd even protons and neutrons having only 50, this is less stable. And if even the number of protons are even and number of neutrons are even, such type of nucleides are 168. These are most stable. So that stability is increasing from odd to even. Nucleides containing odd numbers of both protons and neutrons are the least stable, means more radioactive. Nuclide containing even number of both protons and neutrons are more stable, means less radioactive. So that these four atoms or nucleides are more radioactive than these. And nucleides contain odd numbers, odd numbers of proton and even numbers of neutron are less stable than nucleides containing even number of protons and odd number of neutrons. So in this also odd and even, odd number of protons and even number of protons 50, this is less stable. Even number of protons, if it is having, it is more stable. For example, the oxygen 816 contains 8 protons and 8 neutrons, even, so that it is more stable than the 8 oxygen 17, whereas it contains 8 protons and 9 neutrons, even and odd neutrons. Therefore, 8 oxygen 17 is unstable. Like that, if you take the chlorine 1735, it has 17 protons and 18 neutrons, odd even, and the 17 chlorine 36 has 17 protons and 19 neutrons, odd. Hence, 17 chlorine 36 is unstable than the uh, 17 chlorine 35. So like that, Hg 195 has even number of protons and odd number of neutrons, and the Hg 196 has even number of protons and even number of neutrons. Therefore, Hg 195 is unstable. So that depending on the number of protons and neutrons, we can say that which nucleus is stable and which nucleus is unstable. From this table, we know that if the protons and number of having both even number, that is most stable. Like this nucleus are 168 in nature. And odd number of protons and odd number of neutrons having the nucleus are the least stable, that is four number of stable four numbers are there. So that like this we can discuss about the stability. So about the next we will discuss about the how the radioactivity occurs and what are the laws anchored in this radioactivity decay. In 1896, Henry Becquerel accidentally discovered the radioactivity. When he is doing the experiments on the fluorescent and phosphorescence uh, compounds irradiated with the visible light, he found the radioactivity. He illuminated some pieces of uranium potassium sulfate with visible light. Next, we wrapped these pieces in black paper and separated it from a photographic plate by a piece of silver. He left it several hours. When he was developed photographic plate, he found that there was a blackening on the plate. So, the spontaneous breaking of nucleus is known as radioactive disintegration. And Rutherford and Saudi made several experiments on the radioactivity decay, and from this experimental studies, they developed some laws regarding to radioactivity decay. These are the laws of the radioactivity decay proposed by the Rutherford and Saudi. First, radioactivity decay is a random and spontaneous process. It is a random process and it is a spontaneous one. Radioactivity is spontaneous one which is related to the nucleus. And second law is each decay is independent event. It occurs independently by a chance to take first. And third, in any radioactivity decay, either alpha or beta particle is emitted. And fourth, when nuclei emits one alpha particle, its mass number is reduced by 4 and atomic number by 2 because alpha particle helium He24. So that mass number reduced by 4 and atomic number reduced by 2. And fifth one is the rate of disintegration of radioactive substance is directly proportional to the number of atoms present at the instant. So that rate of disintegration is very important. The rate of disintegration of radioactive substance is directly proportional to the number of atoms present at that instant. So, how many numbers are present? If the more number of radioactive element is there, more rate of disintegration we have. So that radioactive disintegration is proportional to the number of the initial atoms. So this we will see clearly. So let take N0 be the number of atoms present at T is equal to 0. So that N0 is the initial number of the atoms and capital N be the number of atoms left after the some time T. So that initially the number of atoms in the radioactive element is N0. After time T, the number of atoms left in the radioactive element is N, that is capital N. The rate of disintegration is dN by dt. Number of atoms per time is called the rate of disintegration, dN by dt. This rate of disintegration dN by dt is proportional to N. So that dN by dt is equal to dN by dt is proportional to N and dN by dt is equal to minus lambda N, where if you remove the alpha proportionality constant, we will get lambda. Where lambda is constant, it is called the disintegration constant, or we can say that decay constant. The negative sign indicates that N decreases as time increases. The number of disintegration per second dN by dt is called the activity of radioactive sample. Therefore, dN by dt is equal to minus 0 to t lambda dt. If you integrate this, we will get for the more elements. For this, we will integrate so that dN by n, 1 by n integration is log n and limits n0 to n. Here dt lambda is constant, only integration dt is equal to t, lambda is constant, the limits are 0 to t, and therefore log n minus log e n0 is equal to lambda t. Therefore, log e n by n0 is equal to minus lambda t. This equation is known as, here L is equal to n0 e to the power of minus lambda t. This is a very important one. Just you see here dN by dt is proportional to n. If you remove the proportionality constant, we will get dN by dt is equal to minus lambda dt. Therefore, n0 to n limits, if you apply n0 to n, the atoms are decreasing from n0 to n, dN by dt from the time 0 to t. So that if you apply these limits, we will get integration of 1 by n is log n, limits n0 to n, and integration of dt is t. limits are 0 to t. If you apply these limits, we will get n is equal to n0 e to the power of minus lambda t. This equation known as the decay equation, it shows that number of active nuclei in a radioactive sample decreases exponentially with time, that we will show in this figure. So that here the initially the number is equal to full 1. After half-life t is equal to t by 2. The half-life we will discuss. After t is equal to t by 2, the number of atoms decreases of 0.5. Here the 0.5 means half of the number of particles are disintegrated. Then again after second t off life t off, again the number decreases 0.5 to 0.25. This is the 0.25, half of this initial year 0.5, so that the half is 0.25. Again it comes to the again after half life period t off, again it will become 0.25 to 0.25 to 1.25, so that this again it will comes to reduces again after half life, half of the atoms again off. Like this disintegration will continuous exponentially, but not comes to the zero. It is exponentially decreasing. So that the disintegration or half life, how we can describe that, the half of the elements, the time taken to disintegrate half of the elements is called the half-life. So before discussing the half-life, we will try to calculate the decay constant. So here, as we said, from the law of radioactivity disintegration, from the law of radioactivity disintegration, dn by dt is equal to minus lambda n. Here lambda is equal to minus dn by d2 into n, where lambda is called the uh, decay constant. Hence, the decay constant is defined as the ratio of rate of decay per unit atom present. If we put t is equal to 1 by lambda in the decay equation, we will get n is equal to n0 e to the power of minus 1. So that n is equal to n0 by a, which is equal to n0 by 2.718. Therefore, which is equal to 0.37 n0. So n is equal to 37% of n0. Hence, decay constant lambda may also defined as the reciprocal of time during which the number of radioactive atoms of radioactive substance falls to 37% of its initial value. So that lambda defined as the reciprocal of time during which the number of radioactive atoms of a radioactive substance falls to 37% of its initial value. That is called the decay constant. If the number of atoms falls to half, the time taken for that is the half-life. So that half-life, the time is taken by a radioactive substance to disintegrate half of atoms is called the half-life of that substance. It is denoted by the T of or simply capital T. The half-life period is different for different substances. Simply the half-life is the number of the time taken to disintegrate half of that material. If number of atoms is n0, after half-life it becomes n0 by 2. So now n is equal to n0 by 2. After half-life again n0 by 2 becomes n0 by 4. After half-life again n0 by 8, n0 by 16, n0 by 32, n0 by 64. Like that, after each half-life, how many atoms present will become to half. That is called the half-life. Now we will get the relation between the half-life and decay constant. Let n0 be the initial number of atoms in a radioactive substance of decay constant lambda. Then after half-life time t, the number of atoms left behind is n0 by 2. So at t is equal to capital T, n is equal to n0 by 2. By substituting in decay equation, n0 by 2 is equal to n0 by 2 is equal to n0 e to the power of minus lambda t. Therefore, e to the power of lambda t is equal to 2. Lambda t is equal to here log 2. So log 2 is equal to 0.693. So that t is equal to 0.693 by lambda. This is the relation between the half-life and decay constant. Half-life is inversely proportional to the decay constant. How we derived, I will explain once again. As you know, at t is equal to after half-life, number of atoms present is equal to n0 by 2. By on substituting in decay equation, n0 by 2, n is equal to here n0 by 2, we are substituting in this equation. In this equation, we are substituting n0 by 2, so that this is the decay equation. N is equal to n0 e to the power of minus lambda t. Here we are substituting n is equal to n0 by 2. So n is equal to n0 by 2 is equal to n0 e to the power of minus lambda t. So that e to the power of minus lambda t is equal to 2. Here lambda t is equal to log 2, t is equal to 0.693 by lambda. This is the relation between the half-life and decay constant. Thus, the half-life of the radioactive substance is inversely proportional to its decay constant. T is inversely proportional to lambda. Half-life is inversely proportional to decay constant. If decay constant is more, half-life is less. If decaying very fast, the half-life is less. Immediately within the short time, it will become 0. So that the half-life period of decaying constant is more, for that molecules the half-life is less. If the decay is less, half-life is more. Now mean lifetime. Mean life in radioactive is the average lifetime of all the nuclei of unstable atomic species. This time interval may be thought as the sum of lifetimes of all individual unstable nuclei in the sample divided by the total number of unstable nuclei present in the sample. So that if you take the sum of lives of the all atoms and divided by the total number of atoms, is called the half-life, is called the mean life. Mean life is taken as T bar. So that T bar is equal to 1 by lambda. So mean life of radioactive substance is the reciprocal of the decay constant. Decay constant. So that mean life is the average life of the all atoms, sum of the lives of the all atoms by the total number of the atoms is called the mean life or average life of the atoms. The mean life of unstable nucleus is always 1.443. This is 1.443 times longer than the 1.443 times longer than the 1.443 times longer than the its half life. So that it is not comma, it is 1.443 times longer than its half life. Now activity, the rate of decay of radioactive substance. The rate of decay of radioactive substance is called the activity, that is denoted by R. R is equal to dN by dt. dN by dt is called the radioactive substance. The radioactive substance is called the rate of decay is called the radioactive substance, that is denoted by R, which is equal to dN by dt, which is equal to lambda n. So that this lambda n is equal to 0.693 by t into n, so that R is proportional to n. Activity is proportional to the number of atoms present at that time. Therefore, if R0 is the radioactivity of the substance at T is equal to 0, then R0 is equal to lambda N0. From this, we can say that R is equal to R0 e to the power of minus lambda T. If you take this one, R is equal to lambda N and R0 is equal to lambda N0. If you substitute, N is equal to N0 e to the power of minus lambda T, N0 gets cancelled. We will get R by R0 is equal to e to the power of minus lambda T. Therefore, R is equal to R0 e to the power of lambda T. So that this is the activity. The activity is the rate of decay of substance is called the activity. This is denoted by dN by dt, which is equal to R. And number of atoms left behind after n of lives is equal to 1 by 2 to the power of n into n naught. And R be the activity after n lives, R0 be the initial activity, then capital R is equal to 1 by 2 to the power of 1 by t into R0, or R0 is equal to 2 to the power of n into R. Now we will discuss about the units of the radioactivity. The fundamental unit for radioactivity is Curie. Curie is 1 becquerel. The fundamental unit for radioactivity is becquerel, that is 1 disintegration per second. And if the 10 power 6 disintegration per second is denoted by Rutherford RD, and if 3.7 into 10 power 3.7 into 10 power 10 disintegration per second, then it is denoted by Curie. So that fundamental unit for radioactivity is called the becquerel, which is equal to 1 disintegration per second. It is also called the SI unit of becquerel, is also called the SI unit of radioactivity. but it is a small one, so that instead of 1 disintegration per second, we can denote by 10 power 6 disintegration per second, which is equal to Rutherford, and Curie is 3.7 into 10 power 10 disintegration per second, that is 1 Curie. Therefore, 1 Curie is equal to 3.7 into 10 power 10 disintegration per second, that is equal to 3.7 into 10 power 10 becquerel. Becquerel is disintegration per second. Instead of disintegration per second, we are using becquerel, and it is equal to 3.7 into 10 power 4 Rutherford, because 10 power 6 in place of 10 power 6 you can use Rutherford. This is the units of it is the unit of radioactivity. These are the units of radioactivity. Now we will discuss about the alpha decay. Alpha decay is the, as you know, from the nucleus, where due to radioactivity, the alpha particles, beta particles, and gamma particles are emitting. Now we will discuss the process of alpha decay. Alpha particle is nothing but helium-2 particle. So that from this process of alpha particle, from disintegration of radioactive nucleus, for example, XZA is the nucleus, it becomes Z minus 2, atomic number decreases by 2 and mass number decreases by 4 and plus 2He4. In the process of alpha decay, the atomic number is decreased by 2 units and mass number is decreased by 4 units. So that this will happen only with a heavy nucleus. Heavy nuclei with atomic mass number greater than 200 undergoes the alpha decay. The alpha particles are helium nucleus, He24. These alpha particles emitted from nuclei have discrete energy spectrum and consist of several groups. Before emission, the alpha particle can be considered to be inside the nucleus. Coulomb's law is applicable when alpha particle is outside the nucleus. When alpha particle is inside the nucleus or very close to it, Coulomb's law does not hold good. Alpha particles lose a large fraction of their energy by causing ionization along their path. The ionization caused by a beam of alpha particle can be measured and related to the energy and range. So that classical physics fails to explain the alpha decay, but quantum mechanics provides successful explanation of the problem of alpha decay. The alpha spectrum provides a conclusive evidence for the existence of discrete energy levels in a nucleus. So that alpha particle, as we discussed, alpha particle is a helium nucleus, He24. After emitting the alpha particle, its mass number decreases by 4 and atomic number decreases by 2. It having high ionization power, so that, and also it is we will discuss the range. So the distance through which alpha particle travels in a substance before being observed in it called the range, because alpha particles are capable of ionizing gases, and this range is after getting observed by it, how much distance traveled is called the range. The range is depends on the initial energy of alpha particle and ionization potential of the gas, nature and pressure of the gas. So that when alpha particle process through a gas, it collides with the atoms and molecules of the gas and ionizes them. It loses energy continuously by ionizing the atoms and molecules of the gas until its energy reduces to value below the ionization potential of the gas. Then the alpha particle captures two electrons and becomes neutral helium atom. So that the distance of alpha particle travels in the gas in the manner by losing all its energy is called its range. This is the Geiger-Nuttall law which explain the range of alpha particle with the decay constant. From the Geiger-Nuttall law, it is found that different alpha particle emitters emit alpha particles of different energies and hence different ranges. It has been observed that alpha emitters giving higher energy particles have shorter half-life and vice versa. Geiger and Nuttall measured the range of alpha particles emitted by a radioactive elements and found that there exists a relation between the ranges and decay constant as log lambda is equal to A plus B log E R, where lambda is disintegration constant and AB are the constant. So that according to Geiger-Nuttall law, if you draw the graph between the log lambda versus log of range or this we will get these series. This is for the radium series, this is thorium series, this is actinium series. So here this is also different for three different series. It is obvious from the figure that three lines have different intercepts on log ER axis. This indicates that the constant A is different for different series, while the value of B is same for all series. According to this relation, when the disintegration constant is high, the range is also high. Since the range depends on the energy, we conclude that radioactive elements of large decay constant emits high energy alpha particles. And this law is helpful in determining the decay constants of radioactive elements of very short or very long lives. By measuring the ranges of alpha particle of such radioactive elements experimentally, the decay constants can be obtained by extrapolation from the curve as shown above. It can be used to check the validity of any theory of alpha decay. Classical physics could not give satisfactory explanation of Geiger-Nuttall law, but a proof of this law was given by Gamow on the basis of quantum physics. So that this Gamow explanation, classical physics failed to explain the alpha decay, but Gamow explained the alpha decay using the quantum mechanics. According to the Gamow, the following assumptions are made. Alpha particle exists in nucleus such within the nucleus before emission. Alpha particle is a constant motion and bounces back and forth between the barrier walls. During such collisions with the wall's potential barrier, there is a definite probability of leakage through the barrier. Once the particle leaks through the barrier, it escapes from the nucleus because of its kinetic energy and Coulombic repulsive forces. Thank you for watching. In the examination, the main important questions will come from this examination are what is the radioactivity? Explain the natural and artificial radioactivity. And another question is explain the laws of radioactivity laws and disintegration constants, or what is activity. And also questions will come on the alpha decay or explain the Geiger-Nuttall law. If you go through this video, you are able to answer all this question. So thank you for watching. If you like my video, please subscribe my channel Dr. JC Babu and press the bell icon to get the subsequent notification. Thank you.